Let's come to order and start our meeting at 6:04 p.m. May I have a roll call?
Here.
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 Here. Here.
Vice President Tahada. Here. President Wall.
Here. Thank you. We have an agenda tonight. Are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes.
Let's approve it. Shall we move?
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor of approving the agenda?
Aye.
Aye. There are some minutes from the February 10th board meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 5, recognitions and commendations. We're going to talk about the Terra Nova High School Student of the Year, Principal Carey.
Hi, good evening, members of the board. Every year, each school site selects one student who represents the very best of its spirit, leadership, and promise. And for Terra Nova High School, this year, that student is Gabby Diogi. It's always fascinating every year as a principal to watch this whole process unfold, to watch the staff come together around a nomination for this honor. Sometimes there's discussion, and sometimes, like this year, there is an immediate consensus. And it was Gabby, yes, Gabby, of course, Gabby, over and over, chorus upon chorus. And what struck me just as much was what happened next. When I reached out to her teachers, advisors, coaches, the responses poured in. In fact, they were continuing to pour in today. The stories, the examples, the admiration, all of it truly wrote this speech for themselves. In fact, it's probably the easiest job I've had all year is standing up here talking about Gabby. And everything I'm about to share comes directly from those who work with her every day, and I've simply just had the privilege of putting all the words together. So in the film Braveheart, the protagonist, William Wallace, charges into battle first, his army falling closely behind. He does not lead from the sidelines. He leads from the front with courage, conviction, and example. And Gabby leads in much the same way. Time and time again, she is the first one to step forward. During Spirit Week, while others enjoy the music and games, Gabby is the one pushing the speakers into place, organizing her committee, capturing the microphone, and emceeing lunchtime events from start to finish. She empowers her team, but never asks anyone to do what she herself is unwilling to do. She leads with enthusiasm and kindness, and our students respond. At the conclusion of rallies, after the crowd has left, you can often find Gabby at the front of the gym with a broom in her hand, meticulously sweeping the confetti off the floor. As our ASB president, the most visible student leadership position on campus, it is both refreshing and humbling to see her serve in this way. Her leadership is not about recognition, it is about responsibility. Gabby has been an elected student government officer since 9th grade, and again, currently serves as our ASB president. With a student leadership class of about 70 students across all 4 grade levels, the role is no small task. Yet she approaches it with natural ease. She listens first, gathers information, weighs perspectives, and then makes thoughtful, fair, and informed decisions. She is strong, diplomatic, and deeply respected by her peers. And her impact extends well beyond student government. Since her sophomore year, Gabby has served as president of the Asian Club, fostering belonging and strengthening cultural celebrations on our campus. In fact, Gabby organized Terra Nova's first Filipino-American Heritage Month celebration in their new quad, where students enjoyed a lively lunchtime filled with original Filipino music, from classic Filipino disco hits to modern favorites. The buzz and curiosity she created resulted in many other groups following suit. Gabby is the founding member of our Women in STEM Club, which creates opportunities for young women to see themselves in science and technology fields. Under her leadership, the group has not only dissected a fetal pig during lunch, but has delivered presentations on ocean acidification to middle school students in Pacifica and was recognized by the San Mateo County Office of Education as a Sustainable and Climate-Ready Schools Challenge Standout Leader for the 2024-25 school year. That recognition honors those who drive meaningful environmental transformation across campus and community, and Gabby did exactly that. She has represented Terra Nova at the Youth Climate Summit, participated in beach and campus cleanups, and balanced all of this while competing as a member of our basketball and track teams, where she is a fierce competitor and always represents the black and gold with pride and positive sportsmanship. She has led and organized our Senior Sunset, homecoming dance, senior sweatshirts, multiple senior fundraisers, and the first ever senior winter fest. Each event reflects careful planning, inclusive leadership, and a commitment to creating lasting memories for her classmates. With a cumulative 4.244 grade point average, Gabby is one of our top students in the class of 2026. She has taken our most rigorous course offerings and has excelled in each of them. Her teachers describe her as a natural student, someone who shows up daily with a smile and an eagerness to learn. Her curiosity, creativity, and strong analytical thinking sets her apart. But again, what truly distinguishes Gabby is not simply the number of titles she holds or the event she leads, it's how she leads. With joy, with humility, with resilience, she's always smiling, always uplifting others, and always willing to charge forward first. She embodies leadership, initiative, service, and compassion. She represents the very best of Terra Nova High School, and I can think of no one more deserving of being named our Student of the Year. It's my great honor to present Gabby Diogi.
Sorry, I thought you were going to say something. No pressure. We'd like to speak to you. Congratulations. Student trustees,
If I could go first,
please.
I'd be very blessed to. So for the past few years, or past 4 years, Gabby has been one of my best friends at Terra Nova. A lot of people know her as an incredible leader, athlete, and student, which of course is true, but she is also easily one of the most grounded people that I know. And I really don't know anyone else who deserves this more than her. She is always extremely kind and helpful and funny with whatever she pursues. And she's also the kind of person that knows exactly how to keep it real with you. So thank you. And congratulations, Gabby.
Any other students? Please.
I remember thinking in middle school, wow, this girl's really cool and really smart. And you're doing so much and like getting involved in the community. And I'm so excited to see what else you do with like the amazing amount of like intelligence and ability to lead that you have. So congratulations, Gabby, you deserve this.
Trustee Gallego?
I don't have as much to say as my other trustees, but to have a group of teachers come to such a consensus about a student of the year means a lot to what you've done throughout your high school career. I'm sure that you've worked really hard to get here, and yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you.
How you doing, Gabby? How you feeling up there?
Yeah, pretty good.
Good? Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Congratulations. It's quite the honor to be, elected the student of the year. But I think it goes without saying that you've earned that. You've worked really hard to get to this point. And I also want to congratulate your parents. And thank you for blessing us with this lovely child you have here in our district. Gabby, it sounds like, your leadership really is kind of, taking center stage with everything that you do. And I think that, you're probably impacting more of the people around you than you know. And I would like to just encourage you to continue to do that. And I think this is just the beginning of, the accolades and the recognitions that you're going to get for all your hard work and the things that you're going to continue to do. So really impressed with the whole, founding the STEM club thing, since I'm kind of a science nerd myself. So I think those things, especially from the female standpoint, I think we need more of that, in our society. So keep up the great work. Congratulations, and enjoy the rest of your accolades.
Thank you.
Yep.
Incredible work, Gabby. You have clearly made an impact on your school community and your classmates and us as a district. We're very proud of the work you've done, and you should be proud of the work you have done as well. So as you reflect on this now that you're on the tail end of your high school career, what jumps out at you? What's that one favorite thing that you did over the past 4 years?
I think it's definitely starting my Women in STEM club. Just being able to see the impact on our community has been truly great.
And fabulous. That's great. Thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you.
Hi, Gabby. Congratulations on this great honor. You seem so humble and probably a little uncomfortable hearing all the great things about you. I'm sure you don't remember, but because you were really little when I used to see you at Fernando with your mom, and your mom was my son's teacher at Fernando. And your parents are legends in the Daly City education community. And it's just, I've seen your name over the years as someone who always achieved and was always involved. And now, so when I opened up our board packet and I saw you were the student of the year, I was not surprised and I was really delighted. But what stood out for me is it's not that you do all these things and you get all these accolades, but it's how you lead. And that you are there, you're going to be one of the ones to sweep up. I mean, and that you're out in the community. It's not just the Terra Nova community, but you're reaching out to middle schoolers too, which is huge. And I think what Trustee Gallegos said, the word that stood out to me was you are impactful. You have touched a lot of lives, including ours here right now. So I just want to say thank you so much for everything you've done for our district, because you really do exemplify the best of us and you make us very proud. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And thank you very much for impacting the district, for making it a little bit easier for all of us. It seems like you've been able to learn a few things along the way. You've shared it with some people, and I'm always happy about the student of the year because it's kind of like, hey, you've learned a few things, you learned how to figure out a couple hard things, and I hope you can take it with you. I hope you enjoy this journey. Everybody else said something good, so I don't have much to add. Congratulations, and perhaps I will see you at the long jump pit tomorrow.
Yes.
Gabby, I want to say, so you have stood out to me over the years. You were one of the first students that we asked to be in a listening session. So hopefully lots of students at lots of schools have been in listening sessions. But that first year, Miss Baca and I went around and just sort of asked the principals, we asked in advance to, gather up a diverse group of students for us to talk to, just to have a conversation about, is there anything you'd like to change at your school? If there is, what would that be? And so I think that's the first time that I sort of formally met you. And you really stand out because of your really kind aura. I think when you walk into the room, you just sort of radiate this kindness and positivity. I know I feel it. And so that for me personally stands out with you. I loved reading all of this stuff. It's clear that you have an interest in the environment. I love that you started the Women in STEM. That's fabulous. And I know that whatever you do in life, you are going to make things better. So congratulations to your parents. And thank you for raising this lovely young person and this strong young woman. And congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Where would you like to do it? I think we do it right here.
Yeah, because then you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks everyone. Item 6A, the board report. Let's start with some students. Mr. Miles.
So out of Jeff, our prom theme was recently announced by our student government. It is going to be Golden Knights City Lights with the San Francisco theme. This applies to the whole district, but spring sports have started their seasons. Our quarter 3 finals are this week, Thursday and Friday, which kind of works out like midterms for us. Today at lunch, there was a Bruno Mars lookalike contest hosted by Filipino American Club in light of his new album. There was a sock drive ran by student government to help those in need. I'm not sure who's won yet. There was a track invitational meet at Skyline High School, and our 4x8 relay team won second place medals. There was an iftar night hosted by Middle Eastern North African Club in honor of Ramadan. Our senior superlative winners were announced. There was, I think, the last of LPAC testing. And our Stanford blood drive is going to be March 27th. Anyone who's 16 and older is eligible to participate.
For Terra Nova, we had our first badminton game against Jefferson. Last week, baseball and softball have been very active. We have our first track meet hosted at Terra Nova tomorrow on Wednesday. And last week, we had our Sports Boosters crab feed. Our spring musical, Legally Blonde, will be hosted at the end of this month. And some fundraisers we still have going on are our Class of 28 Seas Candy fundraiser and our Round Table fundraiser for the Class of 28 in the Lindemar Round Table. Unified Olympics and Unified Proms are in the works. Our March Madness starts this Friday. We also have outdoor ed this week. This past weekend, we had all city festivals and concerts where we had a bunch of vendors and some of our band performing. We also had our career fair last week, which had many vendors like the San Francisco Zoo, and state testing for our juniors begins this week.
Thank you. Ms. Schuler?
All right. And for Oceana, we just recently had our spring fling dance that took place last Friday. Very successful. I think it was one of our best decorated dances yet. ASB really pulled out all the stops this year, and we got a lot of good feedback regarding our lighting and the DJ. So that was cool. Our prom committee has also begun working on advertisement and our venue. For the event, we've also had our academic support through our Associated Student Body Congress, which is a relatively new committee, has started offering English language arts support in addition to math lessons after school in our library. So they're expanding. We're also beginning the distribution of our senior sweatshirts. We've had our first track meet at Burlingame today, actually. And we did have our Minions rally on the 27th. We had interim fair recently, which was, for those of you who don't know, Oceana has a week-long program where students are able to engage in like a specific elective. So all the electives were out to fundraise and sell food at this event. It was very successful and a lot of funds were raised for these interims. We are also having our upcoming event to bolster enrollment, which is called Springfest this Friday, offering free food and games for incoming eighth grader students. We had a Panda Express fundraiser for our interim that flies out to Washington, D.C. to interact with a bunch of different students from around the United States. We also have our upcoming senior exhibition on Friday, March 27th, where all of our senior students who have been working on a specific research project all year get to present their findings to the community. Our Black and Latino Student Union Club also invited a poet to come speak to our Spanish classes and our 9th and 10th grade students who are involved in world history and ethnic studies courses. We're also having a career day this Friday as well, so students will get a chance to explore different fields in not just science and healthcare, but also the trades. And then our toy drive, which was hosted by the secretaries in our Associated Student Body, is ending, and they're starting up a hygiene drive. And then our representatives from Westmore and Thornton, unfortunately, were not able to attend this evening, but at Westmore, they had their first badminton league of the season against Burlingame. The first time they double-digit won. And they also had their first invitational for track, which is the Rust Buster in Cupertino. They also had their MESA competitions at SF State this Friday, when MESA stands for Math and Engineering Science Achievement. It is also Pi Week at Westmore. They're having a Westmore math competition, which is a 45-minute test-style competition after school. The Westmore Pi Master competition, which students can memorize as many digits of pi as you can for a prize. They're also having a Westmore poster making competition and a TEDx math speaking event. So adult and student speakers will talk about where math has taken them. They're also having a home track meet next Wednesday. Their production of Mamma Mia premieres this week. They're having a theater spirit week beforehand. Prom tickets are on sale, and they're having volleyball tournaments Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. There's also an upcoming Link Crew assembly and upcoming 9th graders schedule choosing. The Social Justice Coalition Civil Engagement Speaker event, there's also having that with Fernando Montanis. So sorry, I do not know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. There's also a 9th grade town hall meeting, I believe, where they discuss upcoming events. And the French cooking field trip to Oceana was on last Friday. For Thornton, their quarter is ending this Friday. They're having finals on Thursday and Friday. They're also having a career day next week. And Thornton was recently awarded the Model Continuation High School designation from the California Department of Education.
Thanks a lot, Ms. Schuler, for doing triple duty. Board of Trustees, Trustee Gallegos.
Yeah. First of all, I want to give a huge shout out to our student trustees up here and filling us in on all the happenings at the schools and kind of seeing how involved they are in all of these activities and how much you could tell they really care about that stuff. And it's really nice to be able to have them up here and share that with everybody watching, everybody sitting here. So you guys are doing an amazing job. I appreciate that. And as for myself, it was pretty quiet during our little break, so I didn't really get into a whole bunch. I did go to the All-City Music and Arts Festival at Terra Nova. My son he goes to Cabrillo, and he was playing percussions and maracas in one of the songs. So it's just really cool to see music in schools still. I know for a while there, I think, just thinking about having to cut things like that out of their programs, it's kind of a bummer, especially when you see how much they enjoy doing it and how, what they get out of it. And for 3 schools to get together like that in Pacifica, a middle school and a K through 8 and a high school, and really come together and make some good music like that, it was really impressive, and I really enjoyed it, actually. Been to a lot of band recitals, and can't always say that, when they're trying to learn how to play instruments, but these guys were killing it. So huge shout out to Oliver Bishop at the Terra Nova program, Matthew Gallegos at the Cabrillo program, and Dylan Benander at IBL. So that's it for me.
Just a couple of quick ones for me was last week attending the Iftar Ramadan celebration at Westmore, or I guess that was 2 weeks ago, which is
Ramadan Kareem, Trustee Lee.
Yep. And then, of course, I also did with Trustee Tejada. We were at the early part of the All City Band and Arts Festival on Saturday, there from about noon to 1-ish. Great to be able to support the vendors and to, see some of the performances that the students had around campus. So it was great.
And we've got a long meeting, so I'm not going to share all the stuff I did. But it was good to be out in the community. Superintendent Preston and we attended Thornton Family Community Night. Always good to be with the community there and talk to a lot of the families and the staff. Let's see. And I did attend, and we also attended the Jefferson's first Iftar night. It was beautiful. It was a really beautiful celebration. Let's see. And then on the 24th, we hosted, on the behalf of the Commission on the Status of Women, we hosted our District 5 Listen and Learn here to talk to folks in the community. And it was great because we really partnered. I felt really proud to show off our district office and everything that we do here, and so that the community knows us better as well. So I want to thank Superintendent Presta, Mrs. Brust, for really, and our staff here, facilities staff, are really helping us with everything that day. And I'll report out later on our facility subcommittee.
Thank you. I'm happy to see a former board member in attendance with us tonight, a mentor of mine. Thanks for coming. Recently, I went to Masters in Governance training hosted by California School Board Association in San Jose. It's a new location for them. And I know I'm kind of silly sometimes. I'm so serious right now. I was very much enriched by my time that day. And I'm happy I was able to go. So I'm looking forward to doing something like that again. On Saturday, I attended, I want to get this right, the Black Student Leadership Conference for San Mateo County. They had a session at Kenyatta College that was also very special, and I'm happy that I was able to be a part of it. Like Vice President Tejada said, to get into the community. It's great to see students in the room tonight. It always changes the energy, and I'm looking forward to this great meeting. I'm pretty excited right now, and I'll end it there. Superintendent report, Ms. Presta.
Thank you. I'm going to be brief. My 2 biggest highlights, actually, there are lots of activities that I go to in the district, but 2 of my favorite things were both the Jefferson and the Westmore Ramadan Iftar, where we were able to share with the community when they broke their fast. I was really touched both nights, and grateful that we were invited to be there. I also want to just highlight, it was said briefly in the report that Violet shared with us. Thank you. But Thornton, Dr. Marenko received a phone call from the CDE, so we don't have it in writing, but he believes it was not a crank call, that they were Thornton was named a model continuation high school. And I just want to kind of say that loudly. I'm so very, very proud. We know the good work that they're doing, but to be recognized at the state levels really shows their hard work. It's quite an honor for them. So I'm very proud. And then the last thing that I want to say is I'm really proud of our student trustees. We've been trying something different this year where they are sort of doing action projects in the schools. And every night, so last night happened to be student advisory meeting, and the time flew by because they were so engaged. And I'm just so excited for you all to hear some of the stuff that they've been doing. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Board subcommittee report. I think Vice President Taha, I have one.
So the facilities subcommittee met yesterday, and we discussed the Ceremony Del Rey project and our agreement with the city of Pacifica for use of the pool at Oceana High School. And the subcommittee received an update from our consultants on current housing construction market conditions. And we discussed the upcoming expiration of our joint powers authority with the city of Pacifica, which is scheduled to end in December of this year. There are no specific actions or recommendations for the board at this time, and the subcommittee is planning to meet again in May.
Any other subcommittee reports? 7A1 is about the Oye Latinx Youth Conference. I believe Ms. Blanco's here. So item 6B is the AFT Local 1481 report. Ms. Casey. I tried very hard to skip you.
You did. And I'm going to be very quick. I'd like to thank all those who participated in the March 4th Day of Action. We had a, wear your union T-shirt, get together, hold posters, and show your solidarity with the people in our communities. So thank you for those who sent in pictures, and you can find them on CFT's Facebook page and on our own website announcements page. You can see those photos. And I'm going to be quick today because there's lots of people to talk to.
Thank you. I didn't say anything before, but I want to give a shout out to our AV team who has this new camera angle of the podium. Even though I can see them right here, I think the camera angle is awesome, even though I'm looking at myself right now, and that's really weird. Moving on, 7A1, the Oye Latinx Youth Conference. Ms. Blanco's here to speak to us. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing us time to speak about Oye. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Jennifer Blanco. You all are former colleagues of mine, as I was a school board member for the San Bruno Park Elementary School District for 17 years, but I was involved in San Bruno and across the county for 30 plus. Still involved. I am currently also not only on the planning committee for Oye, but I'm also a juvenile justice and delinquency prevention commissioner for San Mateo County. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to allow Chris. I asked Chris. Chris is our student Oye outreach intern, and I'm going to allow him some time right now to introduce himself, and then we'll go into the presentation.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Velasco. I'm a senior in high school. I was at Woodside High School, Sequoia Union High School District, and I'm now doing the middle college program. So I'm at Kenyatta College doing dual enrollment program. And I also work at Kenyatta. So I'm a student ambassador. So I go around tabling, doing college fairs. I worked at Terra Nova High School last week in their college fair. And last year I was a student MC, and this year I'm an outreach and marketing intern.
I'm also on the outreach team. He helps supports the outreach efforts with Oye. Chris, you can come up here with me. It's great having someone come. I was here a couple years ago and I was by myself, so I'm thankful that you're here with me. So we do have a video for you, but we're going to show that to you a little bit, or you're going to put it up on your new screens here. So the first Oye happened in 2010 at the Fair Oaks Community Center, the unincorporated part of Redwood City. And it was, that community center is really small, and so it got so popular that they outgrew that space. So Oye was born at the Fair Oaks Community Center, and now Cañada College is home to Oye. The reason why Oye came about was because of the need to support Latino youth in the community. And what happened was they had some community members that got together and said, let's do something for our Latino youth. That's how Oye first was. It was focused just for Latino youth, but it has grown. And for the conference through the years, all students are welcome from all backgrounds. So Oye means, it has dual meaning. Oye means hear me in Spanish, means hear me or listen to me. And then also it's an acronym. It stands for Orgullo y Educación. The translation is education and pride. Our keynote speaker this year is Dr. Manuel Alejandro Perez, CSM's current college president. And the theme for this year is resilient and strong, we always carry on. And the theme was, students came up with the theme. And as we all know, with the current national political state of our country, with predominantly Latino, the Latino community being hunted and targeted, where our youth obviously know what's happening in their surroundings. So this is why they came up with the theme. And Chris, if you want to share a little bit more about the theme, feel free. So Oye during the day, our day is student-led, as Chris just mentioned. Last year, he was one of our student MCs. And so it's led by students. We also do have workshops that are student-led. We have some amazing topics every year. One of them is our Dream Club from Sequoia High School. The Dream Club usually comes and they put on a workshop about know your rights and topics such as that. And so we have keynote speaker, we have 2 sessions of workshops, various topics, and then we also we end the day with an Oye Fest. We do provide food. We know that food brings people together. And so we provide a very light continental breakfast, and then we do have a lunch. Last year, I think it was pupusas, correct, Chris? We're not sure. We're not on that committee, so we don't know what the hospitality committee is going to be providing for all of us to break bread with one another. And so I think this would be a good time for us to show the video. And this year, what's new with Oye is, in the past with the emails and my communications with your district, we do provide transportation. This year, San Mateo County Office of Education is partnering with Oye, and they're going to help support us in those efforts to provide transportation to our school districts that may need that level of support to transport their students and their families. So if we want to go ahead and show the video, and then any questions, feel free after. Oh. Okay. No ChatGPT for us right now. So I'd like for Chris to speak a little bit about our student MC, Oye MC program.
Yeah, so every year we choose new MCs to just host the event, kick off our the main part of the event, and then just the ending the festival. So we choose high school students, and they're selected through a whole like process. So there's like an interview process. You fill out a form, and then you get chosen to be interviewed, and then from there they choose the MCs. So there's a lot parts to it. And then once you do get accepted, this year we have 3 MCs. And once you get accepted, there's like a whole training session weekly for 2 months. So I think we already selected our 3 new MCs this year, and they've been training, they've been meeting every week, and they meet up into the conference. And so I was a part of that last year, and I had like a coach, and he trains us just everything like improvising, just how to look natural on stage, and it really helped a lot. But there's also just a lot of student involvement opportunities. I'm like an outreach intern this year, so I was in charge of making the flyer, which I think you'll see in a second, and just reaching out to our strategic partners, designing the banner that gets put up in Redwood City. It's a lot of behind the scenes work. We also have an administrative intern that helps just write the agenda for our meetings and reach out to all our plenary board members. And I think our students also, like, we get to have a submission of who wants to like design the shirts or what kind of food they want to see. Just a lot of student voices are heard to plan the conference.
We have so many students on our planning committee, and we cannot do this without them because it's for them. It's right. It's for them, by them. So if you have any questions for us, no? Okay. Well, thank you so much for the time. And we hope to see students from Jefferson
Right.
Union High School District.
I have one
attend
question. Can you tell us the date again?
March 28th.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Item 8 is the consent agenda. I will entertain discussion, modifications, or a motion.
Move to approve consent.
Second.
All in favor of approving the consent agenda?
Aye.
Aye. Item 9 is public comment. Mr. Clerk, do we have public comment at this time?
We do have one non-agenda, at least I'm presuming it's non-agenda item because it was not marked, but this is from Karen Cunningham. If present or not, then maybe not. All right, then we can move on. The other public comment are for other agenda items later in the
Thank you.
agenda.
Item 10 is discussion items. A1. Sorry, I lost my place here. Proposal to rename the Westmore track.
You want to turn it over to me?
Ms. Presta.
Thank you. So tonight I'm proud to bring forward a facility naming recommendation that I think speaks to the heart of what makes our school special. We received nominations from across the Westmore community, staff, students, parents, and alumni, all asking that we honor Coach Ron DiMaggio by naming the Westmore track after him. I took that to our executive cabinet, and after careful consideration and the Westmore leadership, we are in full agreement that this is exactly the kind of recognition our naming guidelines are designed for. Coach DiMaggio has given more than 40 years of his life to this district as a teacher, a coach, and frankly, as a cornerstone of the Westmore community. He's led the cross-country and track and field programs for decades, and in that time, he's shaped generations of student athletes. His program is both competitive and welcoming. He's helped athletes reach the league, section, and state levels while always keeping the focus on teamwork, dedication, and personal growth. What really stands out, though, is how consistently people describe him as so much more than a coach. Current students, alumni, parents, and staff, they all talk about him as a mentor, someone whose investment in kids doesn't stop at the finish line. I'd like to call up, I think Caroline Sharon-Barrow, are you? Great. So I'm going to call her up because she's got some words as well. But I am recommending that the board approve the naming of the Westmore High School track, the Ron DiMaggio track. And if the board directs us to move forward, then I will bring a formal resolution to a subsequent meeting. So I'm going to turn it over to Caroline.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to tell you a little bit about my experience with Coach. I'm a little different from many of those you see here. I'm an outsider for him. He reminds me of this every season because everyone else you see here is an alum of his. It's a former athlete and parent now, and maybe even a coach. So anyways, I've had a chance to participate in a lot of different programs, first as an athlete myself in a college, high school and college, and now as a coach. But for the past 25 years, I've had the privilege of coaching alongside Coach DiMaggio. And through all of those experiences, I can honestly say that what Coach has built here is second to none. What makes his program so special isn't just the success on the track or the field. Yes, the 50+ championships and victories are so impressive. But what really stands out is how he coaches the whole person. He teaches our athletes to be respectful, kind, and accountable. He pushes them to work hard, to work as a team, to root for each other, and to not be selfish. He recognizes their effort whether they win or lose. One of my favorites is his tradition of giving out T-shirts to his athletes after every meet. And it's really not it's not the stars all the time. It's those who show the most effort, determination, the most heart. It's a simple thing, but it's what he values the most. He values hard work, character, and growth. Watching the way Coach builds relationship with athletes and holds them to a higher standard has truly inspired me, not just as a coach, but a teacher too. The program Coach DiMaggio has built here is incredibly special, and I am grateful to have spent the last 25 years coaching alongside him. I've learned from him so much. Honestly, when you think about the impact he's had here, decades of athletes, generations of families, and a program built on character and commitment, it's only fitting that this track bear his name. It's a well-deserved honor and a long time coming, and there's no better reminder for future athletes of the standard he set. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it's a discussion item. If the board would like to discuss this proposal and provide direction to me, we can always come back with the resolution.
We do have a handful of public comments that
Yes.
we'll just take those at this time.
Yeah, perfect.
All right. Reminder that you do have 3 minutes to speak. At 30 seconds, I'll just give you a reminder to wrap it up. So the first speaker we have on this item is Allison Torres. Please come up to the podium.
Hello, my name is Allison Torres, Westmore High School, class of '88. When I first came to Westmore as a 14-year-old freshman, I was so shy and timid, I barely spoke. I stopped showing up for track practice, but Coach found me in the hallway and encouraged me to come back. He did not turn his back on me. He encouraged me, and 4 years later, I was MVP of the cross-country team and would go on to run cross-country and track at the collegiate level. All of that would not have been possible without Coach's guidance. He held our team at a very high level of sportsmanship. He has shown dedication for the last 40 years, and he is just an institution of caring and kindness and what it means to give to the community. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Raymond Jew.
Hi, thank you. So my name is Raymond Jew, and I was at Westmore's class of '85. And I personally did not run or in any track or running program, but I knew a lot of classmates from Westmore, including a couple here who did run track back when he started. I was 81 to 85, and he was already there back then, so he's been there for like 45 years. And a couple of the classmates here, their daughter also ran track, So it's a multi-generation thing. But what I got to know Coach DiMaggio was more recent years, and that I hear classmates keep running into him somewhere, and he would stop and say hello and chat. And the other thing, my class had a 40-year reunion just last September, and one of the first faculty members we thought about calling in was Coach DiMaggio. And even though that night he had an event with the current runners, a dinner event, and the next day he had a event way down in the South Bay, he still found time to drop by our reunion and visit with his ex-classmates. And he's been attending the reunions of other classes also. So he's a regular, and he definitely stays in touch with classmates, runners off the course. And that Westmore track is so nice down there. And I can't think of a better person to be named after. Coach Ron DiMaggio is definitely a Westmore institution so long, and I would hope the board considers naming the track after Coach Ron DiMaggio. Thank you so much.
Next up is Ronnie Drew.
Hello, thank you. Thank you, board. This is for me, this is a slam dunk. I mean, he's such a great person. I'm born and raised in Daly City. I met Coach DiMaggio in 1983. I was a football player, played football for Westmore, frost off, and we were terrible. And so I had some friends that I met in high school, you know, because it was kind of weird. Back then, you got to choose where you wanted to go. And I was kind of on the border of where to go to Jeff or Westmore, but I chose Westmore. It was closer to home. My friend said, hey, there's a coach, and he doesn't cut anybody. Even though I was already an athlete, but I was like, okay, I'll try it. And he hooked me. It was his personality, the way somehow, if you have this experience, if you ever met him and had any kind of spent any kind of time with him, he has this innate ability to make you feel special. And he always finds time, no matter what he's got going on. And he's got a huge family, grandkids, and he always seems to find time for everyone. And this honor it couldn't be more fitting for a special person than Ron. And I urge you to vote yes. And it sounds like it's going to happen anyway, but thank you very much for your consideration on this matter. He means a lot to us. I am his EMS person for the Ram Invitational. It's the last Saturday in September. Please come out and support. Buy lumpia at the snack bar. He holds this invitational and thousands of runners come. Thousands of runners come. It's a huge fundraiser for his program. I know because I fill the water cups. I filled more water cups than anybody in Daly City ever. And the job, it pays like frap. It doesn't pay at all. But like many people that have been involved with Coach, you have this feeling of not wanting to disappoint him. And that's why I keep showing up. I mean, I'll be there as long as he's there. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Benicio Labudran.
Hello. That's how Coach always pretty much greets me when I come there every single day. I come there pretty much 15 to probably even I've come an hour early because I'm in middle college, so I get out early. So pretty much I started track because my dad did track. My dad did track in Virginia. And I was like, well, I'm gonna try track because one, we don't have a football team, and I am tall. I'm not tall enough to be on the basketball team, and I know I'm not gonna do that well because I wasn't that good in middle school and I didn't do anything in COVID. So here we go. I'm like a freshman, no idea what to do, but I knew I knew I was fast. So we do the 100-time trials, and I smoke everyone in the 100-time trials. I'm the fastest freshman, and I'm like, whoo, I'm fast. So he puts me in the 100, and I just do high jump because I know I can jump high too. I did basketball. I'm like, hey, I can jump pretty high. But then my freshman year goes on, and 100, I'm doing well in the 100, but I'm not winning races. I'm doing high jump, but these kids are way, way taller than me. So coach was like, that's not the types of events that I want you to do. I want you to do the long jump. I want you to do the triple jump. And that next year, I make CCS finals in the triple jump. The year after that, my junior year, I got second at CCS finals. And that one decision that coach made that went from me going from a sprinter to a horizontal jumper, made me go from just some guy at the league meet that does pretty well but doesn't do the best, to a state jumper and someone who is now getting recruited from college. I really wanted to do track in college, and coach was the person that made me reach out to coaches, and now coaches are reaching out to me about jumping for their college. And that was only because of one decision. And he does that decision for every single person on the track team. And that's the impact that he can make, even by just talking to him or just by being on the track team. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have Alicia Perez.
Hello, good evening, Superintendent Presta and members of the school board. My name is Alicia Perez, an alumnus of Westmore High School, class of 93, former cross-country and track and field athlete. I am here to advocate for the stadium and track to be renamed the Ron DiMaggio Stadium. I could not believe that DiMaggio was still coaching after all these years. I am happy to get the chance to be back with him while he coaches my 3 kids at Westmore. Ariel, who's an alumni as well of the class of 2024, Xavier, where are you? Right here, who's a junior, and Jacob, who is a freshman this year. How many people can actually say that they and their kids have been coached and mentored by such a dedicated and knowledgeable person? Since my daughter started cross country, I have joined Coach DiMaggio and have become a volunteer coach / team mom for both cross country and track. Ron DiMaggio has been there for so many students and athletes throughout all these years. He has always run a great program demonstrating how to be respectful by having our captains thank the hosts of each meet that we go to. He guides the athletes, helping them build confidence, character, and teaching them about teamwork and running. DiMaggio has been coaching over 45 plus years now and is very much respected at Westmore. And in San Mateo County, you cannot talk about high school track or cross country without Ron DiMaggio's name popping up. Since he could have retired or left to coach with his son years ago, he stays for Westmore's kids. Sorry. I'm just a little emotional, sorry. He's in the Ramley way. His bonus rewards are awarded when athletes like Kylie Gu, who is here, Benicio, Jasmine Combs, and many, many others who have qualified for the state meets in either track or cross country. This is all from his coaching, positive influence, and his wisdom of these sports over these years. Being able to experience watching my children do the same as I did at Westmore and making memories of their own with Coach DiMaggio is unprecedented. We should all be so grateful to have someone with such expertise, devotion, and giving of his time every day for our teenagers. Please honor Coach DiMaggio and his 45 plus years legacy by naming the Westmore Stadium track after him. Thank you for your time.
And the last one we have is Jody Du.
Hi, good evening, everybody. All right, glasses on. Good evening. Thank you for making the time to listen to all of us convince you to honor Coach Ron DiMaggio in a way that is long overdue. My name is Jody Gu, and I ran for Coach DiMaggio from 1982 to 1986, so 44 years ago. My husband, Ronnie Gu, class of 1987, also ran for Coach DiMaggio, as well as our two daughters, Kylie, the class of 2013, and Lainey, class of 2017. Jefferson High School has John Madden in football. At Westmore, we have Coach DiMaggio and track and field. Jefferson did have Coach DiMaggio for 4 years, many, many, many years ago. But we have, at Westmore, we've had him for almost 50 years. On Coach DiMaggio's track and field team, there are no tryouts. No fear of being cut. No fear of being cut from the team for not meeting a minimum time or a minimum distance, depending on the event. All he ever expects from his athletes is a willingness to put in the work and a positive attitude. He will help you do the rest. That is only part of the reason. I could go on and on and on. And if you ever want to have lunch with me, we could talk for hours about him. On and on. That is only part of the reason that 100 to 120 students each season come out and have trusted him for almost 50 years. He consistently coaches to personal bests, league championships, CCS championships, and even state championships. Because of his coaching, many of his athletes have gone on to compete in college, a few professionally, and also in the Olympic trials. Most importantly, he has mentored all of his athletes to be respectful,
30 seconds.
goal-driven, hardworking members of society. As we all know, anyone, any group with enough money can pay to have anything named after themselves or their family members. It is rare to have something like Westmore's track named after someone purely for the love, hard work, and dedication to thousands of youth over the last 4 decades. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And that is all.
Thank you. I want everyone who's here to take a chance, if you would like, to check out our agenda, which has a video that you can look at about Coach DiMaggio and everything he's done at Westmore. Board, are we going to do some discussion?
Yeah, I don't really have a lot more to add to it, personally. I mean, it sounds like it's a good idea to me. I mean, you know, I don't know Coach DiMaggio personally, but you know, if listening to these stories is a testament to the man's character and what he's done for this district and for our community, and it aligns with our policy on naming an institution like that, then I think we're good. I agree with it.
Yeah, I certainly would be in favor of you bringing back a resolution before we should formally vote on it at the next meeting. It's very clear the passion and the impact that he has made on our greater community. When we have multi-generational families having been coached by him, you know, and I resonate with those of you who graduated in the mid 80s, because I'm class of 87 myself. So I certainly understand that, you know, for you to give up a Tuesday night to come here and speak for a person who has made an impact on your life, that's a powerful story. So I'm really grateful to each and every one of you for coming out in support of this. I definitely share that passion from hearing your stories. So thank you all for being here. And I will certainly, when it comes back, I will be a yes vote at that point.
I also want to thank everyone for being here tonight. My son ran for coach, and here's the thing. I saw Ronnie Gu over there, and I asked, is coach coming tonight? Always say is coach. You just call him coach. You don't say Coach DiMaggio. You don't say DiMaggio. It's coach. And my son ran for him, jumped for him for 4 years. And during one of these years, my son's dad had a very serious brain injury, and he had to learn how to walk again. But he was able to see. And what got my son through that sophomore year was running track, being really good at it. And Coach DiMaggio just, keeping him together. That family is, the track family, it's huge. It's huge. And it really saved our family in a lot of ways because, my daughter, who was, 7 years younger than her big brother, she lived on that track. She was like the little mascot, and all the videos I took of my son, great memories, but all you can hear is run, Evan, run. I mean, you just hear me yelling, but Coach goes way back in our family because my sister-in-law went to school with him at Jefferson, class of 66. And she wanted to go watch Evan run. And I said, hey, I think you went to school with his coach. She goes, yeah. And I said, Ron DiMaggio? She goes, oh my God, is he still at it? And that is who he is. Yeah, he's still at it because he cares about these kids. And he doesn't cut anyone. It is huge. The track team is huge. He knows everyone. He pays attention to everyone. So many alumni come back to coach, to volunteer coach, to be volunteers, to work the snack bar on those foggy, cold days when you're just waiting for your cup of noodles after you run. I mean, all of them are waiting, or the hot chocolate. But he finds a way to fundraise in a way that everyone has opportunity. And my son went on so many invitationals, and those road trips, you cannot get those back. I mean, those are memories that you make for these students, these student athletes. And sometimes my son would have to miss practice because he had a huge test or something, and coach always understood, because academics was really important. And so he had a way of fundraising so that there were so many invitationals. There was, buses for everybody. And of course, he didn't spend a lot on the uniforms, but it's okay. Those uniforms had to last a long time because he put it all into the students, into giving them opportunity. And so even to this day, my son and his friends talk about, when they're down in King City or, Martinez relays or, stuff like that. And it's these memories that he makes for them. And I've been wanting this for such a long time. And I'm glad that I think we're finally going to do it, because I'm all for it.
And before you jump in, Sheree, I just wanted to add, because I know Ronnie and the Goose very well. That's one of my bonus daughters is his niece, Yasmin. And Yasmin actually ran track at Westmore. So I didn't have any direct contact with Coach DiMaggio, but I did indirectly through her. And I know she was a basketball player there. She was one of their star basketball players. But wound up loving track, and I think it had to do with him. So, yeah.
Thanks. I've only met Coach in this room, and it was a pleasant experience. I'm rather impressed that 6 or 7 different people who did track came up, spoke for him, and nobody mentioned a PR. So he must be doing something right. I'm happy to. It's not record.
I don't know what a PR is. I'm not sporty.
Ms. Presta is a new track parent and will soon know what a PR is. So I'm happy to accept the recommendation from our district office and from the Westmore staff and support this effort to name the track after Coach DiMaggio when we get this chance.
Awesome. Thank you. I will bring it back formally.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for showing up. I'll just say one more thing. I have a track background, 15-6, and I want to let all of you know that it's cool that you all came out because really the whole point of a track program is to show up for each other. So thanks for doing that tonight.
Yeah.
We keep it moving. Item 10A2 is a board policy update. I lost my place again, but I got it. This is board policy 1000, concepts and roles. Ms. Presta.
Thank you. And I see it's okay to leave if you'd like. We are moving on to the next thing. I give you guys a minute. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming out. Okay, so board policy update, board policy 1000, concepts and roles. So the board is asked to consider updates to board policy 1000, which outlines the district's foundational approach to community relations and its role in educational leadership. The proposed revisions strengthen and clarify several key areas of the policy. Language has been updated to emphasize the importance of two-way communication between schools and the community, and to reinforce the district's commitment to collaboration with parents and guardians, local organizations, and city and county agencies in support of coordinated services for children. The revisions also clarify the board's expectations around community use of school facilities and participation in board meetings and school activities. Additionally, the updated policy aligns community engagement and decision-making processes with Board Bylaw 9005 governance standards and refines language around the board's legislative advocacy efforts, including building relationships with federal, state, and local leaders, and collaborating with other organizations on key educational issues. These updates reflect the board's ongoing commitment to transparency, partnership, and advocacy on behalf of the district's students and the broader community. Any questions?
Ms. Presta, is this what we call a first read?
This is a first read, yes.
Any discussion? Okay.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Item 10A2, board policy update, board policy 1000. Sorry, it's 10A3, board policy update, BP 1340, access to district records.
Thank you. So,
good Lord.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. His phone just went off in a funny way. I'm bringing forward an update to Board Policy 1340, which governs public access to district records under the California Public Records Act. This policy is being presented alongside its accompanying administrative regulation, AR 1340, which has been updated to reflect several new legal requirements. So typically we bring the board policy formally to you. I'm including the administrative regulation for information simply because it's where most of the change happened. So first, pursuant to AB 1004, the regulation now recognizes that financial records provided by an Indian tribe to a public agency as a condition of receiving financial assistance are confidential and not subject to public inspection. Second, the regulation has been clarified to ensure that any disclosure of an individual's immigration status is handled exclusively in accordance with our board policy and Administrative Regulation 1445, which governs our district's response to immigration enforcement. Third, in response to AB 370, The regulation now expands the definition of unusual circumstances that may justify an extension of the standard 10-day response window for public records requests. This includes situations where a cyber attack has prevented access to electronic servers or systems, as well as circumstances where a state of emergency directly affects the district's ability to search for and produce records in a timely manner. These updates ensure our policies remain current with state law and continue to protect both the public's right to access information and the privacy rights of individuals and tribal nations we serve. So, as you say, this is a first read.
Thank you. Any discussion?
No, thanks.
Item 10A4 is Board Policy Update BP 1445, Response to Immigration Enforcement. BP 1445 is to replace BP 5145.13, Response to Immigration Enforcement.
Perfect. Thank you. So this item updates the district's policy regarding how we respond to immigration enforcement requests. This new policy replaces our previous policy on the topic and aligns our practices with new California law, Assembly Bill 495, which requires school districts to adopt language consistent with guidance from the California Attorney General. The updated policy clarifies that district staff may not collect or share information about a student's or family's immigration status, education records, or other confidential information unless required by law. It also outlines that immigration enforcement officers may not enter non-public areas of school property or district transportation without proper legal documentation. The policy also reaffirms that all students have equal rights to participate in school programs, regardless of immigration status, and that students may not be subjected to discrimination, harassment, or bullying based on their or their family's immigration status. In addition, the policy requires that the superintendent report any immigration enforcement request to the board and ensure that families are informed of their rights. It also prohibits the creation of lists or databases based on immigration status or other protected characteristics. Overall, this update ensures the district remains compliant with state law while continuing to support a safe and inclusive learning environment for all students.
Discussion?
Just a comment, just glad that our policy is catching up and, and that we're in compliance, and grateful to the state for passing the legislation that requires us to make these changes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trustee Lee. 10A5, Board Policy Update BP 6115, Ceremonies and Observances.
And I lost my big script that I wrote for these. So I'm simply going to read the board agenda. Policy updated to add events of present day significance to the governing board's recognition of importance of students celebrating events of significance. Additionally, policy is updated to reflect that specified commemorative exercises may be required by law and include educational components.
We'll move on to section 10B, Education Services. We have our school spotlight for Jefferson High School. Ms. Baca.
Good evening, President Walker. Good evening, members of the board. Tonight, I would like to introduce Mr. John Harrigan, principal of Jefferson High School, who will be highlighting great things that's happening at Jefferson. Mr. Harrigan.
Welcome, Principal Harrigan.
Thank you. Good evening, Superintendent Presta, President Walker, and members of the board. Thank you for allowing me to share a lot of the good work that's happening at Jefferson. And it's awesome. I'm so grateful to be at Jeff and to be working there. It's fun all the time. So I would like to kind of walk through some of our site focus, some of the highlights, some of the things that we're working on, and just kind of share some of the instructional things and also some of like the social emotional. And so I'll get right in it. Okay, so, all right, got to get grounded here. Okay, so our site focus this year is really about supporting and serving all students, the academic, social, and emotional needs, fostering learner agency, which I'll go into and kind of explain a little bit more, and then student recognition, something that we felt that we were not doing a great job of before. So the first thing I want to highlight are our CASP scores from last year. And so we had a 7% improvement in math and a 4% improvement in English, language arts. So 7% improvement in math was awesome. It's really hard to do. We have a lot of work left to do. We're still well below standard in mathematics, but we're working and we're being really intentional with the work that we're doing. And so I would steal a phrase from President Walker that this doesn't happen by accident. I think I've heard you say that a time or two or something similar. And so it is very intentional. It's very purposeful in the work that we're doing. So one of the things that we continue to work on are course maps. We call them blue sheets. And so really I know you all have heard about it a lot, but they're planning guides. They are kind of our maps, if you will. They talk about standards. They talk about learning objectives. They talk about assessments and trying to really get teachers and teams to be consistent with one another as far as what they're teaching and leaving the how they're teaching up for kind of their own individual approach. But the what they're teaching is what we've really spent a lot of time focusing on. So now we're starting to dig in a little bit more into the how. That's been a shift this year that we've kind of made, is picking a piece of data and kind of looking at it together. And so that work has started. Another thing that we are really proud of, I know I'm really proud of it, is our co-teaching and the number of courses that we support students with IEPs in the general ed classroom. So we have English 9, Math 1, Math 2, Math 3, biology, physics. And so we have a lot of students receiving support in gen ed. And so what we found this year, and I thank Ms. Baca for noticing this or pointing this out to me, was the CASP improvement for students with IEPs is off the charts. Like ELA improvement from 22-23, when we kind of started to do co-teaching, we were 157 points below standard. This last year, we're 90 points below standard. So making progress every year. Math, 224 points below to 164 points below this last year. And so I think what really sticks out is access to grade level standards positively impacts student performance. And it's hard. Like what students are doing, what teachers are doing is hard. It is not easy. There's often questions about, are students thriving? They're not thriving right now, or they're struggling, or this is really difficult. It is hard. They're being pushed. And what we want to have is productive struggle. And so we're hoping that we're in that band where they're getting enough support that they can be successful. So one of the district is committed to supporting the district and county to supporting co-teaching development. And so working with the teachers that are doing the work in the classroom. And so that's going to help kind of push our co-teaching even further and developing the skills in the teachers. Okay. So last spring, we were doing some listening sessions with teachers, and we heard teachers kind of what we heard. We did the listening sessions with National Equity Project with staff, and it was around students that were struggling in classes. And so we met with the teachers and said, all right, tell us about this. And so we had a bunch of questions for them. And one of the things that came out of it was this sense of agency. Like we thought, well, the teachers didn't feel a super sense of agency in some ways. And if teachers aren't feeling agency, there's no way their students can feel agency. So learner agency is a big piece of UDL, Universal Design for Learning. And so there's really like multiple components to learner agency. But it refers to the capacity of students to take ownership of their learning make informed choices, and actively participate in their educational journey. So it's kind of divided into 3 areas: purposeful and reflective, resourceful and authentic, strategic and action oriented. And as a older teacher at this point, I don't really think of myself that way, but I guess I am. Learner agency wasn't something that I was really taught to think about. And so we have done a lot of work this year, introducing the concept to staff, having teachers select a goal. So we allowed teachers to select their own goal that they wanted to work on in their classroom. And then we've done lots of PD around that. And mostly the PD has been, it's been framed so that teachers are helping teachers. So they're doing a lot of work in trios. They're doing a lot of talking, a lot of listening, a lot of meeting, and just trying to support one another. So we have done tuning protocols. We just finished our 2nd round, or probably our 4th round of tuning protocols, where 3 teachers get together and one person's talking, the other 2, or one person is introducing the problem that they're having. The other 2 are listening to that initially, and then they ask probing questions of the original presenter. And then those 2 talk about the problem in front of the presenter who can't talk. It's a weird exercise, but it really is powerful. We've done it a lot. So we're on our 2nd round of this now. And we're getting ready to do our peer observation week coming up. It's next week for 2 weeks. And so we have about 25 teachers. In the fall, we had about 25 teachers visit 6 classrooms. And they're looking specifically for learner agency, evidence of learner agency. And then last year, we had a similar practice, but the same number of teachers. They went and visited 9 classrooms each. I don't know if it's the incentives that get them to do this or what, but we have really good participation. So we have about 65 teachers. So it's pretty good percentage of teachers are going out and doing a lot of walkthroughs on their own time. So some of the highlights for us, there's a lot of other things that are happening. Instructionally, we have a lot of other work that's going on. That's just a little bit of what I wanted to focus. So some of the academic highlights. This is year 2 of our extensive support needs program. And so this year we have about 19 students in the program. That has been a big shift on campus. It's been a lot of learning. We expanded last year. We had 1 class. Now we have 2 classes. So we've doubled the number of students. And our extensive support needs students are out in general ed classrooms almost half the day, depending on the quarter. They could be out more or less. But so the school is getting adjusted, the students are getting adjusted, and we're trying to find our way in the best ways to support each of these individuals. So our master schedule, I want to highlight this because I think it's kind of cool. Our master schedule is built on equity. And so Vice Principal Ho does a lot of work. He's here tonight. He does a lot of work with our special education teachers and also with our Students Learning English support team to kind of identify where students should be placed. What classes should they be in? What level of support should they have? And so it's really cool. It's very individualized, and we do that every student. We go through and we meet and talk. Okay, what's their level in math? What's their level in English? Where should they be? How much support should they have? And then we have a career day coming up March 25th. So we haven't done a career day at Jeff in a long time. So we're really excited about that. I think we have about 10 different speakers. And so we're excited to bring that back. And then our peer tutoring program continues. And it is growing and getting stronger and stronger. And we're finding more and more evidence that peer tutors are getting better in the classroom in their support of other students. It's like they're not TAs because they're actually going around. They're more like a para in a lot of ways. They're going around and helping support students with the lesson. So they're paying attention at the same time that the students are, so they can go and help. All right. So we have a lot of highlights for college and career, like a lot. I'm really proud of this. So our graduation rate for class of 2025 was 95%, which is up from prior years. And our UCA through G rate is up to 66%. So the number of students who are eligible to go to university right out of high school is at 66%, which is awesome. It's great. We had, in the class of 25, we had 169 students admitted to CSU. And we had, our number of applicants was down to UC. So not sure why. I mean, there's some theories, but nothing concrete. And then, so the class of 26, we do an on-the-spot admissions. I talked a little bit about this at some point last year, maybe, that we pay for the application fee for SF State. So that's an agreement that we make with the students. If they're A through G eligible, we pay for their app. And so we had 208 students this year apply to at least one CSU. 190 have already been admitted, conditionally admitted to SF State. So that's really cool. It's like, I think it's over 70%. It's right about 70% of the class, which means that they are right now A through G eligible. Yeah, it's really cool. And then future grads continues to be a booming thing on our campus. We have about 140 students actively participating in the 10th through 12th grade in future grads. Okay. So school culture continues to be a thing that we're focused on because I think it's really important. We all do, actually. This year, we reintroduced kind of Unity Days, but it's called Breaking Down the Walls. And so we did 3 days of that this year. We had a senior retreat and barbecue, and we had a Grizzly Den. We call it Grizzly Den. It's a program that brings arts, athletics, activities, and groups together. And we kind of look at school pride, school spirit, and figure out what to do to make it better. International Week continues to be a great opportunity for students to showcase who they are, a little bit about who they are. I'm really stoked about 2026 prom on a yacht. So we are actually on a yacht this year out in the bay. So we're not at the zoo. Last year we were at the zoo. This year we're on a yacht. So I'm super excited about the yacht. Should be a great time. I don't think I can be out on the water and not have a good time. Hopefully it's not choppy. Yeah. Hopefully the kids don't make me regret or have to work. Okay, so parent engagement, we continue to have some success, but struggle. Parent engagement is a challenge. And so we have offered parent orientation, so freshman parent orientation. We get a good turnout at that. We've had a pretty good turnout at the senior parent information night that we do in the fall. But we'd love to have more people. We have a PTSA family fun night. If any of you are interested in coming out, it's Garage Band. We'll actually have it in the engineering room. That's really fun. I want to say it's the 24th, but don't quote me. It's Tuesday. Okay. All right. So here's some notable data. I just want to share it because I want it to be out in the world for people to see. That I think one of the really awesome things is that there's a lot of parity. We don't have big giant gaps between students, groups of students. So like our students learning English, 43% were A through G eligible last year. That's a lot. That's a lot of work. And so I wanted to share that because it often doesn't show up that way for a lot of schools. They have really high achievement and really low achievement. And we're kind of, our gap is not as great as a lot of schools. It's not where we want it to be, but it's good. It's getting there. Okay. So how are students feeling? So National Equity Project survey that we administered last spring, we had 779 respondents, which was a lot. We had about 80% of the students feel valued, seen, and heard at a level 3 or 4 on a 4-point. So we had more students at 24% say, feel very valued, which is great. Like that's awesome. Much higher than the low. It's more than the level 1 and 2 combined. So that's saying something positive. How many students feel safe at school? 84%. So 30% felt really safe at school. Those are really positive numbers for me. Okay, so California Healthiest Kids Survey. It says that we still have work to do, which we do. The number of students who report having a caring adult relationship is at 59%. That's not good enough. And I think we all know that and, are trying to find ways to address that. One thing I know that we are going to do this year is administer the Healthy Kids Survey differently than we have in the past. We've been doing it in an advisory class. And I don't think that students really understood what they were doing when they did it. So we're going to do it in an academic class this year. So and make a little bit bigger deal about it. School connectedness is at 56%. So not terrific. But what does it say when you dig into it a little bit more? It says that our counselors and wellness folks are awesome. That's what it says. So 9th grade students do need more support around optimism and life satisfaction, but the measures of chronic sadness have improved. So for 11th grade, it says that we're trending in a positive direction. We're better than the state average in a lot of places, in some places, and that they felt more optimism and less sadness. So something that we realized, part of this came out of the NEP surveys from a couple of years ago, but it's also from listening to kids and knowing how they're feeling. But they don't feel like they're being recognized that much for academic achievement, for doing well academically. And so what we are going to do, and the students, I was kind of hoping Edward was here because he would have heard it. This will be the first time he would have heard it. We haven't rolled it out to the students yet, all of the students. But so we're gonna recognize students every 2 quarters. So after 2 quarters, the average, they have above a 3.0, above a 3.5, or above a 4.0. And so this, based on quarters 1 and 2, we have 614 of our students out of 1020 that had above a 3.0. It's pretty good, 60% of our students. And then students who have improved by 0.5, and that could be they went from a 0 to a 0.5 GPA or a 3.0 to 3.5. They'll also receive recognition. So you all received this, so a little keychain. So all of the kids, all the students that qualify, meaning they have a GPA above a 3.0 or a 0.5, will receive this, and then a charm. So you all received a silver one, but we have a silver one, a bronze one, a pewter one, and I think a gold one. And so students can earn these based on what recognition they're receiving. So they can load them up. So we're excited. Kids, they like charms. Making a comeback. So we wanted something that they could display, something that they could have, but also get a t-shirt. So our hope is that we'll be able to do this giant picture coming up in a couple of weeks. So we'll have about 3/4 of the school almost out to take a big old picture, all wearing I Heart Jeff shirts. So that's our plan. And so perfect attendance is also included in this. So we have 39 students who had perfect attendance through the first 2 quarters, which is pretty good. I know I didn't when I was in high school. Okay. So that's it. And there's a whole lot of excitement about the new spaces. They will be built. It will be built. It right now is not much different than when we took our picture, but it is coming. It's coming and it's going to happen. So thank you. Yeah.
Discussion?
No, but I do want to say thank you for the presentation. I know speaking, from a parent's perspective on the recognition part that you're offering to students coming up, I think that I know personally that having raised 3 kids, the oldest being 27 now, just how important that is in some way, shape, or form. Accolades are always nice. Talking to them about it, a pat on the shoulder, however you want to do it. They love that stuff. It's reinforcing. It gives them something to look forward to. And it's positive. And it's just something that I think they need more of. And you're right. I don't know if it happens enough in their lives in general. So for it to just take place in an environment where they're trying to, accomplish things and work hard at stuff, that positive reinforcement's super important. So thank you for doing that. I think it's a really neat way to do it too. I think kids do really enjoy collecting things like that.
They do.
Did you get the gold one? Yeah, I got the gold one. Yeah. So, I think that's a pretty cool idea. I'm also really impressed with how the kids are, the amount of kids, the percentage of kids that are feeling safe now, considering all things. Because I'm not in that boat myself personally, just given the current state of affairs with the world. But, we need to protect them from that as much as we can and give them a safeguard in the places where we can. And, for you to be doing that there, and it's a big school, so that's a big task. That's huge. And it gives them hope. It helps them relax and make that learning environment something a little bit more manageable for them, So, and I think that's kind of that, and all the hard work you guys are doing, obviously, is a direct reflection of the numbers that you're seeing, which are really impressive. So, hopefully, you guys are, keeping a playbook on some of the things that are working really well and some of the things that aren't. Because if we get this thing rolling like this, and we could use it to model for some of the other schools, or guys, everybody trades information. That's great stuff. Yeah, I guess one of the things that we've touched on a lot, especially with LCAP and things like that, with the ELA improvements, that's really important, obviously, to see that. I mean, obviously we want to focus in on the kids that need it the most, and to see those improvements at all levels is great, but at those levels especially. There's a lot. I wrote a lot of notes here, but all in all, I always appreciate your feedback with the school and how things are going, John. I know you got a lot on your plate over there, big project going on, and and trying to manage all that stuff. But thanks for all your hard work. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You got it. You and your staff, everybody over there. I mean, that's a lot. So thank you.
I'm a little surprised you didn't come out dancing to La Russell, so I'm a little disappointed.
Well, I think about it right as he was talking about it, I'm like, I should have had that.
I mean, are you from the Bay? Come on.
From the Bay, yeah. Now, for sure, transplant. I can say it.
So I just have to say, when you showed the notable data with regards to the A through G rates across all the different subgroups, everybody talks about closing the gaps, and here you are actually closing the gaps. I don't know that I can remember any of these subgroups being this close to the top line, and especially at Jeff. I mean, we all know what just the overall A through G rate was just 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And to be sitting at 66% for last year's class is remarkable. And I presume that number is going to keep going up. And the gaps between the subgroups will continue to close. I mean, for SED to be 2 points off, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's impressive. So I remember when we did, I think it wasn't this year's site meeting, but the year before, where we had that robust discussion about math and the correlation of math grades to math CASP scores. And it's pretty clear that you've been doing a lot of work that way. Can you kind of elaborate a little bit on what work's been done over the past year and a half
Yeah, so last year we met probably 10, 12 times, release days here at the district. It was great. It's such, I mean, like I know the rooms as a result of being here so much. But what we did is we started just by looking at what is the test? Like, what does the test ask? What kinds of questions are being asked? And then what do we do with that? And where do we think kids will struggle with these questions? And so teachers took the test. And so we started there, and then we started to identify gaps, and we set some goals around. We set goals on, kind of problem solving. We identified a number of things. One is like what to do when you get to an unfamiliar problem. Like when you get to something you haven't seen before, how do you approach it? What do you do? How do you, problem solving, basic problem solving. And my brain totally went blank. We ended up with 4 goals. And so we spent the next however many meetings kind of figuring out how to address those. Retention, recall was one. So how do students recall information? How do you develop that skill? It's a skill, and it's something you can get better at and you can learn. And so we implemented different strategies to address recall. And we implemented different strategies to address problem solving. When they get to something they don't know how to do, what steps do they take? And so every classroom got a poster, like we tried to make it as simple as possible. The questions probably took us the most amount of time because we actually had the teachers, after getting aligned vertically, with what was being taught what year and kind of what we could let go of so that more time could be spent because it's picked up in Math 2. We don't need to cover it as much. So we spent a lot of time doing that, making sure that our course mapping was good. After that, then it was like, okay, so now we need to create questions, like unfamiliar questions, CASP-like questions. So we created tons of these questions and then went through and picked out the ones that we thought were the best. And then the department agreed to give these questions at the end of every unit test. So just to increase familiarity with these kind of ridiculous problems that are written in a way that's really difficult for people to understand and to follow, and so that students became more familiar with them. And so after that, then we bring all those tests back and look at them and go, okay, why do we think the kid made the errors in this problem that they did? And we'd kind of go and do some diagnosis and then figure out, okay, how can we address the teaching that's going along with this? That's the piece that we didn't get too far into. Really, it was, hey, let's increase familiarity and let's talk about recall. Let's talk about problem solving. Those are the 3 of the 4 that we really dove into last year. So, and this year the departments continued to do the one question or the question 1 or 2. I think it's like 2. I don't think we got to 3 questions on each of the unit tests, but so they're still doing that. And then they're coming back on their Wednesday PLC meetings and talking about how kids are doing on them. And they're difficult.
Yeah.
They're difficult questions, but
thank you. That's really impressive work. And I'm really grateful that that you saw the problem and have pretty much addressed it immediately. And and come up with a plan to be able to ensure that the kids are actually learning the material and then know how to address the material in the confines of the crazy questions that those kinds of tests ask.
Yeah. And the first question was really like, okay, here's the test. Here are the questions. Are you teaching all of these concepts that are being tested? And the answer was yes.
Okay.
So then as a team, the team figured out, all right, well, what do we do about that? Like, so why are they not able to do these questions? Because we teach them these concepts and they understand these concepts when we test them, but they're not able to do it in the way that CASP is asking. So, okay, now let's problem solve around that.
Great.
So the teachers, the math teachers, they're awesome. They worked really hard last year, and it took a lot of time, took a lot of effort to kind of come to those findings and solutions.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And thank you to you and the staff for really putting in that work to be able to address that.
Thanks.
Hi, John.
Hi.
Thank you for your great presentation.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I like just seeing it's very concise, right? Even though it's 19 slides, it's
Sorry.
it's still great information. Everything we need to, basically everything we need to know, letting us know how things have been going. I like that you are all so committed to finding solutions and just not saying what is going on here, but actually, God, taking the time and trying to tackle it in a way that that works, you know, because here you are, you know your students. And so how can we present things to them in a way that they're learning it, but it's, you know, but you're also not trying to teach to the test. It's just understanding the questions that are asked in a way that they can understand it. I felt, you know, I really empathize with that because I know when I went to Jeff, I don't know why I didn't test so well. I was a class salutatorian, but I think it was just the way the academic language was on the test, on like the SAT. You know, I finished it real fast. I thought I did really well, but my scores were not very high. And I think it's because I could not understand it in that way. And I've, as on the board, you know, I feel like I really empathize with these students because growing up in Daly City, you know, especially English was not my first language. Just trying to, even though I commanded the English language, it was not my first language. So there's still a lot of learning to do. Congratulations on the improvement in the test scores, and the learner agency. Really, really interesting. I really like it. And I also want to thank you and your staff for being so committed to your work with the National Equity Project. That's a huge commitment on top of everything else you're doing, but it really, you know, you're really committed to that and the work within our district. I don't know, can I join Peer Observation Week?
Yeah, come on. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to work that out with Ms.
come
Presta
by.
because I'd love to see how you do it. And the the extensive support needs students. So you said they spend half a day in general ed classes?
They can.
Oh,
Like, it depends. Some quarters, there are three periods are in.
Okay, it depends on.
A sheltered classroom and one period's out, but there's like quarters where it's 2 periods are out. And so they're in a lot of elective classes. So it's a lot of learning that we haven't quite figured out yet, how to provide the support for the teachers, how much support is needed. I think we need to do a lot more for staff, the school, about understanding autism and kind of raising awareness. That's something I know we need to work on.
Okay, and how can the district support you better in that way?
Oh, I think it's just asking. I just need to ask and say, we need to
Okay.
do this. Like, how are we
Yeah,
going to do this?
that's wonderful.
The support's there.
Yeah.
I just need to ask
Okay.
and then figure out when we're doing it. There's so many things that we're working on.
Oh, yes, I can see that. And student recognition, I think it's great. They need to feel valued. And I know that our student advisory council, that's something that they had brought up before. You know, they want it. So I'm glad that you're doing this and very frequently and very creatively. It just it reminds me of in elementary school when they had the fundraisers and you earn a ducky. Kids are really trying to collect that, but this is super cool. So thank you. Thank you for everything you're doing over there. And please thank your staff for us.
Thanks. Will do.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Violet. I'm a trustee at Oceana on the board. Last year, I was working with the new student integration committee, and a lot of what we did, especially at Jefferson, was talk to English language learner students about what they wanted to see improvements for. And a lot of the feedback we got was that there were students who were really interested in and like excelled at math and science, but they just weren't getting good grades because they couldn't understand how the questions were worded. So I think a lot of the disconnect there just stems from what Rosie was talking about with just not being able to understand the academic language. So I think a lot of what we were able to tell the board was we got that information from speaking with English language learner students about what they wanted to see either from the school or from the district. So I think that would be a great starting point for also learning more about how you can help out these students who are bright but just don't have the means to express themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You done? Okay. Thank you. Congratulations, John. And thank you. You mentioned something, I think you were calling it a 2v1. Is that right? That's when you have 3 teachers sitting together?
Oh, a tuning protocol. Yeah, or consultancy. Yeah.
That sounds like a powerful learning tool. I like the fact that you're working through something you say is extremely weird, but powerful, and that people are going through that with you. Did I understand right that the peer tutor program has students in classrooms?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
So in part because of the 4x4, we have students can earn 320 credits. They need 225, so they have a lot of elective space. So some of the students burn through, they've taken all the electives that they want to take and they want to be a TA or they want a period to help somebody. And so the counselors try to steer them away from being a TA and toward being a peer tutor. And so they're enrolled in that classroom. And we try to match up peer tutors with subjects that they're interested in or have some aptitude or skill in. Try to find students that speak another language that can go into a class and help. Some of what Violet was talking about, which was, helping students be able to express or be able to get translation if they need it. But so they are enrolled in those classes and they can do it starting their junior year. So we have some students do it 4 times. They'll do it for 2 years straight. We're hoping to get some teachers out of it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
We've mentioned your incentive with the charms. I don't know. I don't think it matters, but I don't know if somebody's going to say, "Hey, look, I got the charms," or if they got home and like put it in a drawer and be like, when they take out a pair of socks, they're like, "Hey, check out my charms."
Check out my charms. Yeah.
Look what I did.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm pretty pleased that I think that can have a lot of power. I don't really have anything else. Congrats on your success and improvements and your plans for more.
Thanks.
And thank you very much, you and your administrative team and your staff. Thanks.
Thank you, John. I'm going to be somewhat brief because we have a long night ahead of us. But a few things stand out that I want to call out in public. First of all, you are an instructional leader, and I'm really grateful for your in particular, John Harrigan, your work. I'm grateful for all of the work that goes on. But the difference in math scores, I think, from my vantage point, are largely due to the work that you guys are doing, and that's largely due to your interest and your experience as a teacher and as an educator. So I want to call that out and thank you for focusing on that. I also love that everybody's heard the word tuning protocol now. And I'm going to shout out Lori Robinson, who's been working with our principals using tuning protocols. So we've been working this year in instructional council on supporting our principals in their educational leadership. And so the principals will take problems of practice dilemmas to our group. And as John was explaining, it's a little weird. You know, you describe something, you have to be quiet. People kind of ask questions and talk to each other. And it's different than how we often interact with others. And it's very, very powerful. So I'm thrilled. I don't know if you knew it before and, you know, like I'm not, or if you learned it from Lori, but I'm so grateful to Lori for bringing that.
I picked it up at the NEP training last May.
Yes, yes, yes.
And meetings for equity.
And National Equity Project has influenced our district so positively in so many ways. So I'm thrilled that you know, it takes a village, as they say, but really thrilled. And, you know, there are so many things that I could say. The fact that the test scores are going up just indicate that students are capable. And we know they're capable, and we want to make sure that doors are opened for them, not closed to them. So thank you for your hard work and for the work of your entire staff and your team at Jefferson.
Thanks.
Well done.
Thank you.
Item 10C1 is our board policy update, BP 450, comprehensive safety plan. Ms. Basuino.
Good evening. This policy is being updated with just a few minor language changes. That's it.
Stuff. This again, a first read item.
First read.
Thank you. Any comments? Board policy update, BP 5125, student records.
Again, first read. This policy is being updated to include information about deleting student records from a third-party app, online services, or website, how to respond to requests for immigration or citizenship status, and gives direction for the retention, disclosure, and security of student records.
Thank you. Stop me before I say board policy update, BP 5125.1, release of directory information.
First read. This policy is being updated to add releasing student email addresses along with student information in accordance with law and board policy to colleges, prospective employees / military.
Thank you. Good. No questions. We're going to take a break. Do we need to vote on that? Good. Let's take a 10-minute recess. We'll come back at 8:21. come back from recess at 8:22. Item 11A1 is regards our board member provisional appointment. Ms. Preston's going to let us know all about it.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. This item is the interview and selection of a provisional member of the Jefferson Union High School District Board of Trustees. So Trustee Cho notified the board of his intent to resign on December 16th, and the board determined that it would fill the vacancy through a provisional appointment consistent with our bylaws. The position was posted on January 15th, and applications were accepted until February 13th. The district received 4 applications: Jessie Levin, Joelle Castareño, Jennifer Ann Kramer, and Lysandra Gutter. All trustees have reviewed the applications in advance of tonight's meeting. Tonight, we will interview these 4 candidates for the provisional appointment. Thank you to each of the candidates for your willingness to serve and for participating in this process. I will explain how the interviews will work. The order that the candidates will be interviewed will be determined by pulling names randomly. However, the candidate who's joining remotely will be the first to be interviewed. Each candidate will be asked the same set of questions, and candidates will have up to 3 minutes to respond to each question. While each candidate is interviewed, we ask that the other candidates adjourn to the front office area, and my assistant, Mrs. Breast, will show you where that is. After all candidates have been interviewed, we will open the meeting for public comment specifically related to the candidates. Following public comment, each board member will write their 2 top choices on a slip of paper and pass the papers to me. I will read them out. If there's a majority in favor of one candidate, President Walker will ask for a motion and will also ask for a roll call vote. If there is no consensus, the board will discuss the merits of the candidates, deliberating until a further motion is made. The selected candidate for the provisional appointment will be sworn in tonight and will begin serving immediately with their first regular board meeting scheduled for March 24th, 2026. This provisional appointment will serve until the November 2026 election, at which time voters will elect someone to serve the remainder of the 2-year term. Again, thank you to our candidates for your interest in serving the Jefferson Union High School District and our community. If the board is ready to proceed, we will call forward our candidates to adjourn to the other room. And as I said, Jessie Levin, who is our remote candidate, will be interviewed first. Ms. Bruss will pull the names of the remaining candidates out of a little bowl right now to determine the order in which they will interview. Once we determine the order, Ms. Bruss will take you guys to the other room. Is the board ready? Okay.
Board's ready.
Ms. Bruss, do you want to call names, pull names for the order? So the second interview is going to be, is it Joelle? Okay, is Joelle Castareño. The third interview is going to be Lysandra Gutter. And the fourth interview will be Jennifer Ann Kramer. Okay, thank you. So Chelsea's going to walk you over to the waiting area. Okay, and can we call Mr. Levin out of the Zoom waiting room and into the meeting? Hello, can you hear us?
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Wonderful. Yes, we can. Wonderful. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to you, President Walker.
Okay, we're going to begin with our questions. I have the first question.
We timing?
Sorry, yes, thank you. So you have 3 minutes to answer each question, Mr. Levin. Do you have a copy of, we emailed a copy of the questions. Did you get that?
I have them in front of me. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay. Okay.
The first question is, tell us about yourself and what motivated you to apply for a position on the school board.
Certainly. So I'm an education economist. which basically I deal with research in educational effectiveness and school finance mostly, and I've been doing that for about 23 years. What motivated me to apply for this position here is kind of multiple purpose. First, I feel a very strong sense of duty and duty to community and public governance, and especially trying to keep in mind students and their families. And I think that this is reflected by my previous board trusteeship on the Pacifica School District Board, as well as other things like I oversaw the led a bond measure effort in Pacifica School District, which was successful way back when. The second thing is I just truly feel that I could add some value to and perspective to the board, given my research background. Third, I've seen firsthand how boards can play a very influential role to improve district policy and ultimately the outcomes of children. So it's very exciting for me. I have to say that, you know, being virtually watching this this presentation was really, really exciting. Everything from the student trustees to John Harrigan. I mean, the Jefferson High School presentation was great, and I learned a lot. So I'm just extremely motivated and jazzed about the prospect. Finally, I have two sons. One who is a sophomore currently at Terra Nova High School, and the other one will be a freshman next year. So I feel like this will provide a nice different lens, a parental lens. Even though I know many of you are parents, but this would be another parent. And I feel that I have a nice mix of both the parent lens as well as the research lens. And I'm also involved in various other educational endeavors, such as being part of the Special Olympics Global Research Collaborative, and I'm part of the California Department of Education Technical Design Group. So I kind of have this practitioner, policymaker perspective as well. That's all I got for that one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Jesse. It's Rosie.
Hi, Rosie.
My question is, what do you believe are the fundamental purposes of public education? And what role do you see yourself playing as a board member in supporting those purposes?
Okay. You know, I see, it's a great question, first of all. So I really want to separate out two big purposes of public education. And one is to really promote the life opportunities of students. Okay. And it's a huge responsibility that public education takes on, because clearly research shows us that a good education improves social mobility. It improves not only individual earnings, but health, things like incarceration rates, reliance on public systems of welfare. So there's a huge motivation to try to improve individual students' lives. That's one side of it. The second side of it is almost more of a collective. And where I'm going to go with this is a little bit researchy, nerdy, but really Horace Mann was a brilliant thinker who really created our public school model. It was called the Common School, and he had several motivations that were more collective in terms of societal purposes for education. And the first one was nurturing and preserving our democratic system. And I can't think of a better time to bring this up than right now, just to let you know. And so, you know, self-governing democracies really require a knowledgeable and literate population. And where are they going to become knowledgeable and literate? Well, in public schools. The second motivation that Mann put forth was to try to provide equal socioeconomic opportunities for individuals. So this goes back to that social mobility. Your outcomes in life should not depend on the wealth or the standing of your family, but everyone should have an equal opportunity to progress in society, and that's the second. And then third, really promoting the economic standing of the country, and trying to improve everybody's standard of living in the country is a really important motivation. And you know, when people say, well, that's my kid, I don't care if public education does anything for that kid or not, they're all of our kids. Everyone, I mean, think about over at SFO, those people that are working on the planes there, if they're not educated right, somebody's going to suffer, right? So I'm a firm believer in what these thinkers, great thinkers, you know, kind of promoted in terms of public education. I'm not sure if I'm close to 3 minutes, but I do see, just to recap, an individual motivation and a societal motivation for public education. Thank you.
Your turn.
So I've got the next question, Jesse. Our district has identified equity as a core value. What does equity in public education mean to you? And how would that belief guide your decisions as a board member?
Certainly. So you know, equity means so many things to so many people, but I'm going to give you two big meanings of equity that I think are vitally important. One is one that I think most people are familiar with, and that is what I would call instructional treatment of students and equitable treatment of students. And many know about unconscious racial bias, and I think that that's really important. But I don't think that that's the only source of inequity that we face. We have to address that, absolutely. But the other form of inequity that I'm really afraid of, because I've studied it for 23 years, is resource inequity. The fact that you have some schools that have better programming and more experienced teachers, and other schools that have less. And in addition, it's not just about the school level, but it's about the different subgroups of students. I'm talking about students from economically disadvantaged families. I'm talking about English learners. I'm talking about special education students. And so I'm very, very concerned that they are both resourced appropriately, as well as these different students are included in the ecosystem of the school. So for example, I'm very interested in Special Olympics, and Special Olympics has a program that's actually being offered at Terra Nova, which is called the Unified Champion Schools program. And the whole idea is to try to include students with disabilities into programming at schools. And they do this through sports programming, but it pervades the whole school ecosystem. And so I'd like to see things like that. I heard one of the student trustees talk about English learners and the challenges that they face. They're not making performance gains on math because they're not understanding the problems, right? The word problems, the language of the problems. Well, I would like to get to these root causes. I think that that's a great example. Get to these root causes and try to identify equitable solutions. Now, it's not my role to do that, but it's my role to stress to district leadership to do that.
30 seconds.
And to specify that that's a top priority of mine. So I'll relent on the rest of my time on that. I think I've said enough.
Good evening, Jesse. Thanks for joining us this evening. Nice to meet you. Your next question will be, what strengths, knowledge, and experiences would you bring to the board that would help contribute to its effectiveness?
Certainly. Thanks for the question, Trustee Gallegos. So first of all, I have experience being on a board before. So I understand how you all operate. I understand the restrictions, the limitations under which you operate, like the Brown Act. So that's one. I also think that I bring this research perspective to the table. And I'm happy to share with you that research perspective, as you might have encountered in my application. In addition, I am a parent, and my kids have been going to San Mateo County schools the whole time. My two boys went to Cabrillo, just like your son does. I couldn't remember if it was son or daughter, but okay. So I'm familiar with with the area, and I would like to become more familiar with Jefferson Union High School District, to tell you the truth. I've got 23 years of research experience. A lot of it is based in California, but it's all over the country. Boy, I think that I'm also a very personable personal guy, and I really want to learn and to interact, and I feel that everybody can learn from everyone. All of you as trustees have different experiences from me that I can learn from. I learned a great deal from district leadership in Pacifica when I was there. And I've learned a great deal from my research colleagues, and also from the policymakers and practitioners with whom I've worked in research. And I think that that's a unique lens with which to govern. And I
Thank you.
relent on the rest of my...
Yeah, you're good. Thank you.
Yeah.
If selected, what would you hope to accomplish as a member of this board, and how would you measure your success?
So I have a huge focus on equity. When I look at numbers, I think looking at averages and changes in averages, average outcomes, is great. It's a great starting point. But I'm a firm believer that you also have to look at the variation around those averages, or an easier way to say it is, are different student groups not making the average? And I would probably measure my success from trying to improve the outcomes of those students who are most academically struggling. And I would also say it's not all just about academics. I also am a firm believer in looking at socio-emotional learning outcomes. Now, we don't measure as many of those, but there are some, and certainly the California Healthy Kids Survey has some of that we heard about. So I would look at the outcomes of students, in particular those students from traditionally underserved groups, and want to narrow those gaps and ensure on the front side that all of the students have an equal opportunity to achieve. And that's done through ameliorating those sources of inequity, that instructional treatment inequity, these ecosystems where there's unconscious racial bias, as well as making sure that there are the resources in place to support programming for those English learners that can't read the math problems proficiently enough to get the answers right on the tests. I think that I'll stop there, but that's, I mean, at the end of the day, I would measure myself against how well have we done at narrowing those gaps. I think one more thing is getting the perspective of families with what their priorities and their satisfactions are with our schools and the programming there. And we have to listen to them as well. So it's not just about the California state standards. That's very important. It's also about how parents are feeling, and the community as a whole are feeling about what types of programming and outcomes our schools are producing. I hope that's helpful.
Thank you.
Okay. Imagine a parent approaches you in a grocery store and asks for your support on an issue. How would you respond?
This has happened to me before, a couple of times. So there are a couple steps here. First, you want to authentically listen to the parent and make sure that they know that you're not just nodding along with them and going, Next, because you've authentically listened to them, you should bring that concern to the superintendent, and possibly, if the superintendent feels it's warranted, the district leadership team as well, and talk it through. Now, I think an additional follow-up, though, is to not leave it there, but to make sure that some action has been taken. And when I say action, it could be a decision that we can't, it's impossible for us to address this. Let's say the parent comes up and wants, the district to do something that they absolutely can't because it's illegal for some reason. Well, that can happen. And it's very important to follow up with the parent to make sure that they understand that they were listened to, their concern was considered, and there was some sort of decision made. Now, we're not going to be able to satisfy everybody all of the time, but sometimes we will, sometimes we won't. At the very least, they can feel listened to and felt authentically heard. I hope that's helpful.
Thank you.
Great. All right, Jesse, next one. When voting on an issue before the board, how would you balance factors such as community concerns, student needs, legal requirements, staff recommendations, and your own values and beliefs?
Okay, this is a great question. This is, I think, one of the most difficult questions you guys offered here, for me at least. One thing is, values are inherently subjective. So I would try to put those aside. Instead, I would try to look at the evidence that's out there. And, and that's kind of, values and beliefs. Beliefs could be, well, what research do I believe, or what results do I believe that we've got going on in our district? I think that you have to balance community concerns. I just referred to, I think, sort of community concerns in my last response, in that we have to understand what the community values, and that certainly holds weight. The student needs, I think that, that can be informed by research evidence and also practitioner, I'll call it opinion, but it's very informed opinion, right? Professional opinion. And I think that Principal Harrigan, he talked about universal design for learning, which is great. I love that, right? And it's great that you're seeing results. So, that's an instance where, okay, there's a research base here. We see in practice that actually seems to be working. That would hold some weight. Legal requirements are legal requirements. So I don't think it's up to the district council to help us through those. Staff recommendations. Again, I think that goes in with kind of the evidence base. I think even staff recommendations includes what I would call anecdotal evidence, even if it's not hard research evidence. And I would take all of these into account. I would try to limit my own values, okay? Because I'm a trained economist, and so it's a positive science. We try to tell you what is, rather than tell you really what should be, according to us. So I try to kind of leave my subjective values out of it, aside from my passion for equity. And I guess, one could say that not everybody agrees that we should provide equitable opportunity for students.
30 seconds left.
Oh, I will relinquish the rest of my time to you all to ask me more questions.
We're almost there, Jesse. Number 8.
Yeah.
How can an effective governing board ensure that parents and community members have meaningful opportunities to share their perspectives on important policy issues?
This is a great question, and this is all about communication, and not one-way communication. So I would argue that that one of the necessary conditions here is that the district becomes an expert communicator in terms of making things transparent and understandable to parents, but then opening up avenues for parents to provide feedback and input. Now, we have, things like LCAP meetings, and I think that those are brilliant, but I've also seen those go both ways. I'm not talking about Pacifica here. I'm talking about in other districts where the LCAP becomes kind of a rubber stamp exercise, where the principals say, well, here's our plan, and then the district says, here's our plan, and there were some parents there to listen to the plan, but not really provide authentic feedback, right? Have to avoid that. have to make accessible avenues for parents to authentically provide feedback. And this means all parents, not just the 2 or 3 that consistently always make it to the LCAP meetings. Okay. Now, what does that require? That requires some investment. You're going to have to make things in multiple languages, right? When there are right? So the calls to these meetings, I would try to leverage technology in that way. And mind you, I might be telling you things you're already doing, but this is just what I would do. So my apologies if you're already doing some of this. In any case, you would really have to develop a communication strategy that was two-way and authentic. The other thing, which kind of harkens back to one of my other responses, is once you get input from parents, they have to know that it's been listened to. It's been processed and considered. So that also has to be messaged out as well. It's not just, we got this, check that off. It's, we got this, we took it into consideration, and we're reporting out what parents said. And this is what the district says, and this is where the two meet. This is our intersection. I hope that's helpful.
Thank you.
Okay, question 9. How would you continue to develop and improve your effectiveness as a board member during your term?
Okay. Another great question. And so when I read this right before starting answering these questions, I thought about it briefly. And one place where I really do have to improve my game is becoming familiar with the school communities there. And when I say becoming familiar, there are a lot of different stakeholders to become familiar with. Students and their families, staff, and the larger communities or neighborhoods surrounding each school. I think that there are points that I would have to understand in order to really aid my decision-making on the board and interact with all of you. And one is, what are the goals of each school? I'm a firm believer in local control, and I don't believe that stops at the district level. It flows down to each school. Each school community is unique. The second thing is, what are the strengths that the school feels they have? And the third is, what are their challenges? What are their pain points? Right? So I would have to get up to speed and learn all of that. These are things that I think you all as veteran board members have, definitely have a leg up on me. You've been gathering this information for a while now, but I would have to do that in order to become a more effective board member. The next thing is more general, which is just learning. And that means going to Saturday sessions with all of you. It means listening authentically to all of you. It means going to CSBA trainings, right? All of the above. And then, of course, just continuing on with what I do professionally, which is researching and learning, about educational effectiveness and learning about ways to promote educational equity. I'm not sure if that's close to 3 minutes, but that's what I got for you.
So do you have any questions for the board that would help you prepare for this role if you're selected?
One of my questions for you all is, which I think I have a good handle on, but my high level question is how do you all interact with each other? And when I say you all, I'm going to split up the board, school staff, and district leadership. And how do you regularly interact with one another? And are those relationships healthy? And if not, how could they be improved? So that's one question that I think I have. I think that's the only question. I'm not sure if you're going to answer them. Maybe this is only me answering questions, and you guys get to ask the questions. So
You don't answer it.
Okay, that's fine. I could talk to you all offline, regardless of how this works out. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
So those are all our questions. We can give you 2 minutes to make a concluding statement.
Okay, sure. Well, I just wanted to say that I'm very passionate about public education, and I come at it from a researcher, a policy, research, policy, and parental perspectives. Okay, and I truly believe in equity for all students, and have tried to kind of live that in my professional life. I'm not sure what else I could say. I think that, I also know where I would have to sort of sharpen my game, and that is to get up to speed on Jefferson Union, and I'm perfectly willing to do that. And I'm just excited at the opportunity. I thank you all for allowing me to apply. Allowing me to interview. And I'm really sorry that I couldn't be there. It's just unforeseen circumstances, just things that I couldn't avoid. But I would definitely be there if I could.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so we're going to take a moment, and Mrs. Brust is going to go into the other room and call in Joelle Castoreno to interview. We are going to have the in-person candidates sit at the spot where there's a bottle of water. We decided making people stand up wasn't a good idea. Thank you, Rosie, for bringing that up earlier today so we could make a plan for it. So Ms. Brust is going to go get Joelle Castoreno to come in, and you can write your notes. Joelle, in order to speak, welcome in. The questions are in front of you, and there's a bottle of water that has not been opened. It's yours.
I was told to take it with me.
Is all for you. And in order to speak in the mic, you have to push to see the green light for us to hear you. So you can just leave it on.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Good. Thanks for coming in. I have the first question. Tell us about yourself and what motivated you to apply for a position on the school board.
Yeah. So thank you for having me. My name's Joelle Castoreno. I am a parent. I am a mother of three. I have a 19-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 7-year-old. I also, through my own mentorship program with the Vituity Cares Foundation, support high school students present day today through healthcare pathways that maybe their schools can't provide in the Oakland area. Today we visited El Camino Hospital. It was a good time. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you put the microphone closer?
Yeah,
Because I
sorry.
know I can't hear
a
you
little
very well. So we want to make sure everybody
Yeah.
hears. Okay.
No, much better, huh?
Yeah, much better. Thank you.
Yeah, so I was saying I'm a parent. I have three children, 19, 9, and 7. I also do mentorship programs in the Oakland Unified School District. And I was a very engaged parent at Westmore High School for the 4 years my daughter went to school. I served on school site council. I served on the bell schedule, and I also served as an interviewer for we went through some principal transitions. So I'm sitting in front of you all today, both based on my own engagement with the community. I am local. I also am a daughter of a Westmore High School graduate, and my auntie graduated from Westmore High School. So I'm very Bay Area native, and I love to support students in our communities. And yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Joelle. So, what do you believe are the fundamental purposes of public education? And what role do you see yourself playing as a board member in supporting those purposes?
That's kind of a hard question. How public education is viewed today probably has both strong aspects to it and some lacking aspects to it. Education is the stepping stone and cornerstone of building our future adults and our future leaders, and also is an important space because not everybody can find themselves happy to be where they are at today, and maybe school is an outlet for them. Education serves a lot of families and students in areas that maybe they're not getting the support that they need. As a school board member, I continue to see myself supporting the schools around us and the students around us in meeting the needs or requests that they have and really helping them meet some of their goals that they have and hope to achieve. Thank you.
Hi, Joelle. Our district has identified equity as a core value. What does equity in public education mean to you? And how would that belief guide your decisions as a board member?
So equity for me is that we are all equal, and that we all deserve to have a voice, and that we all should be perceived in an equal manner. How that belief would guide me in my decisions as a board member is I see people for who they are on the inside. I'm not here to judge anybody, but it was very touching just this evening attending this meeting and hearing from students and faculty members and people of the public, and to see them for who they are and where they're at in life.
Good evening, Joel. What strengths, knowledge, or experiences would you bring to the board that would help you contribute to its effectiveness?
I do believe that my most recent experience at Westmore High School would help contribute to the board, being that I did sit on a recent school site council and I did work on the bell schedule so that we could increase our graduation rates at Westmore High School. There were unfortunately students not graduating just because they were missing a handful of credits. And now with the bell schedule, that has enabled students to not only take on more electives and find value in the things that they enjoy when they're attending school, but graduate high school, which is an important milestone, whether it be that they're going on to a four-year college, or they're going to take up a trade school, or they're going to have a gap year. But I think that's extremely important. In my own personal life, I have about 10 years of leadership experience supporting my team of practice administrators and healthcare workers and clinical workers. And that has given me a lot of resilience and grit. Caring for healthcare, even though it is seen to save lives, it is also an operational business that is hard to run. And with different laws and regulations and insurance policies, it's very hard to hold on to not only that we're there to care for our patients, but we're there to make a difference, just like we're doing with our next generation of mentees that are seeking healthcare career pathways.
Thank you.
Okay, next question. If selected, what would you hope to accomplish as a member of this board, and how would you measure your success?
I think something that's really important about being a board member is having that face time with the schools and the students, really showing up and being present for their events, their initiatives, their goals, and being able to come back and speak to them. I think taking on a role like this does require some time to observe and learn from my own mentors or fellow board members. And in order to measure that success, I would definitely make a goal of visiting at least one school and at least 2 events per month, so that I am able to sit in front of you all in the public and speak to my observances and what I've experienced, and to stay attached to the district.
Thank you.
Imagine a parent approaches you in a grocery store and asks for your support on an issue. How would you respond?
I don't know that I can clearly say how I respond. I don't know what I would do in that instance. But I would imagine that it would still be very important for me to acknowledge that parent and hear what they have to say. And then with the current knowledge I have today, take what they've had to say and let them know that they've been heard. And maybe it's something I need to leverage a resource I have and circle back with them, or learn what the best possible response would be. But I don't know that I could just immediately support their request. Okay.
When voting on an issue before the board, how would you balance factors such as community concerns, student needs, legal requirements, staff recommendations, and your own values and beliefs?
I think it's, again, very important for me to really to hear, everything that's being brought before me. But I have to, again, not ensure that maybe my internal feelings or my emotional feelings or even my judgmental feelings don't play a part. I truly believe in being fair and honest with both myself and when I'm reviewing something. And sometimes it's about making the right decision. And to me, that's the best decision.
Okay. How can an effective governing board ensure that parents and community members have meaningful opportunities to share their perspectives?
Microphone's not on.
Oh.
I don't think your mic.
I'll start over, sorry. How can an effective governing board ensure that parents and community members have meaningful opportunities to share their perspectives on important policy issues?
I think it's very important to get the word out there. I know we live in a very technological world where you can receive emails or newsletters, but unless you're directly involved with a student or the school itself, I think it's very hard to continue to stay engaged. And I can speak for that myself now, sitting before all of you and being able to attend this evening's meeting. I actually didn't know these meetings really existed, in all honesty. And I think being able to, I don't know that the right word is advertise, but share that these, that the community and parents continue to be reached out to and actually ask for their involvement and engagement. I actually sat during one of my meetings and asked, how come there is such of a lack of engagement? And it was a very honest response that it's very hard once parents or community members are detached from a school, or your kids are already in high school. It's a little bit harder to stay engaged because you've kind of raised your kids up to a certain extent, and then it's just, you're able to take on your own personal careers and goals. And I really think it's important that the board reaches out to the community as much as possible and tries to engage parents and the community as much as they can.
Excuse me. How would you continue to develop and improve your effectiveness as a board member during your term?
Yeah, I think feedback is extremely important. I've always been very open to feedback and receiving feedback and having open question or dialogue to ask how my effectiveness is. What am I doing well? Where do I need to, what are areas of improvement or opportunity? Because we're all growing throughout all stages of our life.
Great. Not that we can answer this, but we are asking, do you have any questions for the board that would help you prepare for this role if you are selected?
I think one of my question is that when you do select your ideal candidate, how do you plan to bring them on board in such a short amount of time with high priority needs and demands before you have your full-time board official?
Thank you.
So those are our questions, but we can give you up to 2 minutes. We are giving you up to 2 minutes to give a concluding statement.
Oh, okay, thank you. I just want to thank you all for the opportunity, for having me here tonight and listening to me. I was very honored to be here by, sorry, it's very emotional, to be here by Mr. Victor Zhao, our principal at Westmore, and to speak to all of you and to be, to feel such a part of this community. It takes a village. And you guys are all very dedicated, and to see that as an outsider to what you all are doing, I think it's extremely impactful, and I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's all good. All good.
Thank you. So, oh.
Voice is loud.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, you have the questions in front of you. And I'm going to turn it over to President Walker, and we're going to get started.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you the first question. Thanks for coming in.
3 minutes.
You have 3 minutes to answer each question.
Okay. Am I going to see where I'm going to be over the 3 minutes?
I'll let you know when we have 30 seconds
Oh,
left.
thank you so
Yeah.
much.
There's a clock up there too.
Tell us about yourself and what motivated you to apply for a position on the school board.
Well, my name's Lysandra Gutter, and I live in the district. I am retired from juvenile hall, so I worked at probation. I worked inside the juvenile hall. Someone told me some years ago, hey, I think you'll be good at being on the school board. So that just shocked me. So clearly I went and did my investigation a little bit, a little investigation to see what the school board did, to see how the school board supported the community at large. And I thought, I saw myself doing that, but within the juvenile hall. So in the juvenile hall, you just have a group of kids that are, in the carceral system. And me as a staff provided certain things. Did you go to school on time? Did you need help for your schoolwork? Did you get to court on time? Did I write your court report? Just a lot of things. And I learned from them how to be more empathetic. It challenged my biases, what I thought should be to what is actually happening. I had an understanding that I don't have the whole picture. And I just think that my very first job as a babysitter, and then working at the juvenile hall, and then retiring from the juvenile hall, and everything that I learned in there, because it's a lot of learning. You go in knowing nothing, and all of your learning comes from the kids. And I just kind of feel like those things have given me everything that I could give to a school board, where I don't have all the answers. I would still be learning, but I do have something to give. I like being around kids. I really thought I was hip when I worked at the juvenile hall because they keep you current, really. They keep you current. I know you don't think that they're going to use the new little charms, but they're going to use them. They're going to use them on their backpacks because kids adorn things. They're going to use them, like we said earlier, on their Crocs. So that, I was very impressed by what happened today. So I just think
30
that,
seconds.
Thank you. I do think I know how to deal with problem solving. I know how to deal with problem people, problem youth, troubled youth. I've had so much training in mental health and de-escalation and probably a lot of stuff that I'm going to forget, but I'm ready. I'm on the Commission on the Status of Women, so I know what it's like to work with a board. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Sandra.
Hello.
What do you believe are the fundamental purposes of public education? And what role do you see yourself playing as a board member in supporting those purposes?
Well, the fundamental purpose of public education is to provide students with what they need to be successful voting citizens in the future. So I think public education is also it's an environment where kids learn what they're good at, and on things they're not as good at, they can learn a toolbox because of all of the services, hopefully that school district provides. Public education is just everything. Kids learn how to be around other kids that they don't know. They learn empathy. They learn how to get along. They learn problem solving. What role do I see myself playing as a board member? I'm going to be a great board member. I'm not a pushover. I stand for things. I'm always going to bring it back to the children, to the students. I feel like this board has been together for a while, so you guys have kind of gelled. You probably have a good working relationship, and I think I could contribute to that. Just come in silently, but taking notes, not trying to overrun, but there, and maybe asking some questions that you hadn't thought about, and clearly learning from all of you. Oh, education is so important. I just think that even the literacy rate in America as a whole is dropping. So I just think the phones did a lot of disservice to the youth, even though we love them. And I just think a lot is on public education right now to supplement for some other things that are going on in the world. It seems like Jefferson High School District is, from what I heard tonight, being very responsive to the community, to the youth, to the families, bringing those scores up. It seems like it starts, every level is important. The school board is important. The superintendent is important. Everyone's doing a job. That principal today had me very motivated because it's his leadership, got you, thank you. His leadership going down to the teachers, and clearly the students are reaping the benefits of that, and the community as a whole, because they're going to go out and be good voting citizens.
All right. Our district has identified equity as a core value. What does equity in public education mean to you? And how would that belief guide your decisions as a board member?
versus equality. So equity means that, okay, everyone has the school, but does everyone in the school have what they specifically need to succeed and be a good voting citizen when they leave? And are they going to be empowered? All students are on different levels. And I know it's a lot on the school board and the schools and the teachers and everyone, but we have an obligation to serve youth. And sometimes you don't know that you're missing something. And I know Violet answered a question earlier to what the principal was saying. I was like, there goes your answer. It's with the students. And it seems like there's a lot of communication. You have a lot of student-led things. And I think that's going to help the equity, because sometimes the students don't want to hear from us older, more mature people. They want to hear from someone who's on their level. And then we have an obligation to meet that. And I think when you think of equity, we're meeting people where they are, giving them the tools for success. And it's going to look different for everyone. It seems like I have some more time, so hold. Okay, I'm gonna end there. Yeah, I can ramble some.
It's all good. How you doing, Lysandra? What strengths, knowledge, and experiences would you bring to the board that would help contribute to its effectiveness?
I personally think that I am great. I think that I should be chosen for this position because of my vast experience with youth of all nationalities, of all abilities. I know someone mentioned autism, and I know in the juvenile hall, we had kids from all walks of life, and we, the staff, not the administration, but the staff, had to work together. I mean, you're not doing this thing in a solo. You're working together to meet their needs. Not every youth even knew how to take a shower. So not every youth was normally functioning. I don't know. I don't want to be rude and say the wrong thing, but we as a staff work together. I might have been the lead staff, but I never did things on my own because it would not have worked. You have to be collaborative. If me and the staff couldn't figure out, then we would go to, maybe it was a medical issue. I've called the nurse down to talk to kids about hygiene. I've called Cora in to talk to some youth that had issues with sexual trauma. I mean, we've done all kind of programs. I've run programs. I worked with girls for 10 years, so I might have a little extra love for them in my heart, and developing some of that self-esteem and acknowledging to even male staff that they are different and they do require something different, and it's okay. And we're going to give it to them. So we're just feeding kids with things that they need. And that's what the school board does with establishing guidelines, right? And hopefully you're choosing a superintendent that shares in a vision that can just implement that down. I might have got off the subject. Hold on. So I just think my strength, and I know how to deal with difficult people. I know when people are angry, they just want to hear you to hear them, because I'm about the policy, but I can still hear you and I can still respect you, and I know how to de-escalate pretty well. I'm not perfect, but I think I would be a good choice. Let me just say that.
Okay, next question. If selected, what would you hope to accomplish as a member of this board, and how would you measure your success?
I would just hope to be a part of a system that really made all the decisions turning back to the kids, with the kids at the forefront of that. oh, it's about money. Okay, yes. And then we're turning back to the kids. Because when we keep them in the forefront, then we're probably going to be okay. We're probably going to be okay because we're all on the same page. It's not perfection, right? It's commitment to the process. And in the end, we're going to win. We've seen what commitment can show in that presentation and how those scores, I didn't know all the terminology, but those scores and those gaps that you were talking about, those gaps were shrinking. And that just showed you that, damn, those teachers are connecting with these kids. Those kids are trusting those teachers and then internalizing the belief that they can do this. They're not stupid. Maybe it's something in the language of the question. And we all know that standardized tests were not really meant for everyone in the room. So I would just like to see continued success as a board member. The numbers, the percentages, and the 90% graduation rate. It's just really astounding. I just think to continue doing that, but I do wonder who else isn't being heard? What voices are we missing? And just making sure that we're doing our best to find out what voices those are and trying to meet them to see what we can do. Not sure what that's going to look like, but I know if we have the will to do it, it can be done.
Thank you.
Okay.
Imagine a parent approaches you in a grocery store and asks for your support on an issue. How would you respond?
Fine. I love parents. And parents have approached me in grocery store before, and I've had their kids, and they just want to talk about their kids. They just want to talk about their kids. Parents just kind of knew what I was going to do or not do. They know I wasn't going to break any rules. But sometimes they just want to talk to me, and I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with giving my opinion within the framework of, what's appropriate. I'm okay with suggesting things to parents. I know, if parents are upset, maybe with even me as a board member, I would give them the process, whatever the procedure is to go through that process. I've had teachers angry. I'm okay with it, because we can both want success for this chair, but do it a different way. So then I don't understand why you're doing this, even though you want success. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's a miscommunication, but let the process that's in place to handle disgruntledness, let it take place. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with talking to parents, giving advice, and listening. And also, if required, because I used to work at the juvenile hall, we always have to write an incident report. I don't even know if that's a part of your process, because you honestly can't remember everything that happens in an incident unless you write something down right after it. A lot is lost after that. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you. When voting on an issue before the board, how would you balance factors such as community concerns, student needs, legal requirements, staff recommendations, and your own values and beliefs?
That comes with working and dealing with people all